This is episode 308 of the Super League Pod, and it's less positive reinforcement, more COVID and cancellations to spare, but the joy of pragmatism and flexibility out of the RFL, shout-outs to the great philosophers, and a bonus mention of ferrets get us out from under that cloud. Loads of news, seriously, loads of it, and all your fan views on the match action. Strap in, it's SLP time. Hello listeners, welcome along to the forever delayed episode 308 of the Super League Pod. Because, David, it's coming home in the round ball sense, we've bumped, and also because of all the games that were happening and maybe not happening in the rugby league world, this show's bounced about a bit and ended up on a Thursday night. I don't think we've ever done a proper show on a Thursday night before, David, so welcome to SLP First.
Thank you very much. I think my last time on the show was 300, or it could have been the time before that. So I'm getting lots of memorable shows, Mark, as part of my joining you, which is rather nice. And I hope it is coming home, not just the football, but obviously the Challenge Cup very shortly.
I mean, more importantly, the Rugby League World Cup, whenever that gets played.
Goodness gracious.
I really hope to see all the mums with their little flags in their cars driving around when that World Cup's on as well.
Yeah, I'll certainly put mine up, that's for sure.
Do you want to tell everyone about our sponsor, where I'm sure probably will make sure he has a supply of flags and the like?
Absolutely, certainly will. This episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. Find a whole range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and also 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers by putting SLP discount at the checkout.
Brilliant, thanks Rob. Toy Shop for their continued support of us. Right, so what this show's going to be, it's going to be a big burst of news, then some hazy recaps of matches from a long time ago. So probably more news than match recaps, if I'm completely honest with you, dear listener. So much news to go on. I mean, just 5 minutes before we started recording, I've been adding stuff into the rundown, into the news section, so that's why we'll focus on that, and that suits me as well because the games didn't happen, David.
Nice try. We can at least talk about one game, Mark.
Leeds Warrington was a right.
Yeah. Actually, that was a more memorable game than the one I went to, I can tell you.
But actually, on the theme of Leeds, something that doesn't really belong in the news, so we're going to talk about it before we have our little music break, because if it was in the news, it'd be an and finally, and an and finally is not where this should be. This needs to be top of the thing. So we had a message in from our roving reporter, EFC78JU, about Rob Burrow Day. So EFC said, only gone and known about it on Monday night when the Sky Sports commentators gone and mentioned it, and the Leeds fans after the game had a banner of Rob Burrow. Today is the 7th of July. They have declared it Rob Burrow Day. To all you Leeds Rhino supporters that have witnessed the win on Monday night, enjoy your Legends Day. So at time of recording, on the 8th of July, yesterday, 7th of July, was Rob Burrow Day. Kevin Sinfield ran another bloody marathon amongst all the hills to help raise awareness. Rob Burrow and Kevin Sinfield have also been made patrons, haven't they, of the MND charity. So, recognising the absolutely brilliant stuff both of them have done to raise funds and awareness of the disease that Rob is sadly suffering from. I mean, the fact that he's put himself out there so much during his journey with this awful, hideous, horrible to see disease that him and his family have been living through is really, inspiring and fantastic, because it helps raise the awareness. And then his good mate Kevin Sinfield getting out there again on the getting the running shoes on again, and not 7 in 7 days this time, but still one on the 7th day of the 7th month. Still helps raise the profile, doesn't it, David?
It certainly does. And also, I saw a photograph of him with Doddy Weir, who the Scottish rugby union player, who's also suffering from MND. And I think he's been very high profile in the other sport, raising awareness.
Oddballs released some commemorative blue tartan boxer shorts on his birthday recently, on Doddy Weir's birthday, actually, to raise money for the MND Association.
Yeah, both of them are doing a fantastic job raising awareness of this amidst what must be one of an absolutely dreadful thing to be going through, both personally and for his family. It is, as you say, very inspiring.
Yeah, actually, one of our own, Tim G, he's asked people that are going to his wedding to not provide him with gifts and instead to make donations to the to a fundraiser for the MND Association as well. Recognising that it's such an awful disease that is hitting all of us in rugby league quite, in the heart, isn't it? Seeing what's going on. So good luck to Rob and his family and the continued fundraising and awareness that they're getting going, and for all the people behind making the 7th of July Rob Burrow Day, we take our hats off to them all.
They do indeed.
What a positive way to deal with such a fucking awful thing.
Yes, absolutely right.
I wish I was half of what Rob Burrow is.
Yeah. You'd like to think you would respond that way, but who knows?
I'm certain I wouldn't. I've not got his courage and character, David.
Great courage.
But we'll now move from that both upsetting yet uplifting topic, and we'll move into the news, where we're going to cover every bloody type of topic and a ton of fan views on them all as well. More fan views on the news this week than we got on the games. That's what we're getting into, guys. The other side of this.
So, let's get this news underway. Story 1, Warrington Wolves back, Greg Inglis, has been released from his contract by the club after his hamstring injury turned out to be worse than initially feared.
It hamstrung their salary cap.
It certainly did, very much so. That's probably the main reason. The 34-year-old, and we'll get to the use of that later, no doubt. The 34-year-old picked up the injury in the defeat by Huddersfield on the 17th May in just his third wire appearance. The ex-Australia international joined on a 12-month deal for the 2021 season, having come out of retirement. Following discussions with the club, Inglis said he committed to stay with Warrington as a, quote, volunteer in a mentor role, unquote, for the rest of the season, for whatever that means. And we have some fan views on this.
We'll rotate through these because there's a few. So I'll start with Lee Whitnell. He said, "This played out exactly as I expected. I'm a massive fan of Greg Inglis. I bought my season ticket just to give me the best chance of seeing him play before he got crocked. He didn't make us a better team, unfortunately, but still incredible to see him in a wire shirt versus Huddersfield. The voluntary thing is clearly horseshit. Laughy face emoji."
EFC78JU was not expecting that announcement. He was a beast until he got injured, and he said he will be back on the pitch, and now he's going to be back with a new club and a new pitch ground. I'm officially gutted about this news. Best of luck at your new club, GI.
He's not getting a new club.
I wouldn't have thought there's any new club involved at all. I think he'll go quietly back into his retirement.
I don't think his body could put up with doing a new club. He said he would come back to he was trying to come back for Warrington after his injury, but his body had broken down. It was clear that he was never quite fully fit, even in the appearances he made. So I think I'm surprised that EFC's surprised. Let's put it that way.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Tom Andrews said, "Fair enough, retire, but to stay in Warrington voluntarily is the maddest thing I've ever heard. Personally think he has taken Wire for a ride and will be flying back to Oz with a big pension."
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll let him back, will they, anytime soon? It's difficult to get into Australia at the moment, particularly
Yeah,
from the UK.
he'll
Pod
be
the
having to
Viking.
quarantine if he went back. So maybe he's volunteering to stay here where he can still go to the pub and catch COVID freely
Yeah,
rather than going to Australia where you're not
yeah,
allowed to catch it or spread it.
exactly. Pod the Viking says, brought over to sell tickets and merchandise. A great player in his day, but well past his best. Why are clubs so intent on bringing players over who are past it?
Well, he touched on one of the reasons there, didn't he? Sell ticket
Yeah,
merchandise,
to sell
create a
tickets and
buzz.
merch.
The signing created a buzz within rugby league circles. Clearly, off the field, he seems to have had some sort of positive impact. Otherwise, they wouldn't have wanted him to stick around. I do. There is a whiff, isn't there, around this volunteer mentor role, and how's he going to pay the bills whilst he's
Yeah,
over here in a rented house and
maybe,
stuff? I wonder who's paying for that. But
yeah,
yeah. Anyway, but
yeah.
sad end to
Who
a
knows?
great career, which we've said before about Greg Inglis after he had to retire through injury 2 years ago.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think this sojourn in Warrington's added anything really to his career. Yeah. I don't think it really adds an awful lot to our sport. So I'm not a huge fan of this sort of signing. I know Warrington seemed to have a little bit of a habit of it. We had Matty Johns come and play a few games, and we had
Andrew Johns,
Greg Inglis. Leroy Burrell, who came over, made a bit of a splash in the news. I suppose they make some sort of news headline, but it's not done anything for the club in terms of actually winning anything on the field.
No, but the salary cap space that this has helped partially free up has led to another big news signing where Warrington have announced the signing of Great Britain and England international George Williams on a 3.5-year deal. The worst kept secret is out. The 26-year-old joins as a free agent, having been released from his contract with NRL side Canberra Raiders in May. The halfback has previously won 2 Super League titles during his heyday with Wigan, as well as the 2017 World Cup Challenge title. Oh, how fucking good was he that day? And in total, Williams has crossed for 73 tries in 220 appearances for club and country. Williams will wear the number 31 jersey, as worn by Australian legend Andrew Johns during his spell with the club back in 2005, which to me makes me hope for a repeat. They will beat Leeds in a much anticipated hyped match, and then we'll fucking lose in the first week of the playoffs in their face.
Yes,
I can but dream. I can but dream.
Yeah.
And that joyful feeling of seeing a repeat of that is almost all that's getting me through this piece of news, because obviously we've known about it for a long time and I've spoke about it before, but I'm clearly very disappointed George Williams hasn't come back home. Something that isn't properly coming home there. What do you think? Is there much to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think unlike the previous signing we were talking about, I'm afraid George Williams will add something to Warrington on the field. I'm not an all-in George Williams fan, but I think he's very good. I also think from an England rugby league perspective, it's good to see George with a club and back playing ahead of, we hope, a World Cup later this year, because he needs to get fit, get games, and start getting into some good form.
And a club that's playing well is going to have competition for places to get into that side if everyone's fit. So that's the kind of challenge. That's the kind of challenge you'll need for the rest of this year if the World Cup is going ahead.
Yeah, but it's certainly not going to do Warrington any harm in terms of their already burgeoning points, 4 at least.
And hopefully he gets sick of wearing those colours and comes back to the cherry and white before the end of his career there. Sticking with Warrington, they've given hooker Danny... everyone might want to have their say on that. I'm sure we've sort of covered it so much in the last month, but if anyone wants to say on it, we can cover it on next week's show if you drop your views on the Williams signing into the news form there. But we won't be looking to cover it in much more depth, I don't think, until he actually plays. Warrington have given hooker Danny Walker a 12-month contract extension, which will keep him at his hometown club until at least the end of 2022.